In August 1969, a young Billy Joel joined nearly 400,000 fellow music fans who flocked to a muddy dairy farm in Bethel, New York, drawn by the promise of witnessing history at what would become the most legendary music festival of all time, Woodstock. But Joel's memory of that weekend, immortalized in countless photographs and films as a moment of pure musical bliss and cultural revolution, is more grounded and far less romantic. At the time, Joel was 20 years old and still years away from becoming the piano man known and loved worldwide. Back then he was performing with his band, The Hassles, and was deeply inspired by rock's rising stars. Like so many others, he made the pilgrimage in hopes of seeing his idols, particularly Jimi Hendrix and The Who, set the stage on fire. But the reality, as Joel recently shared with People, was less like a dream and more like a chaotic mess of mud, rain, and a crowd swept up in a haze of drugs. "I didn't enjoy it, to tell you the truth," Joel, now 76, recalls. "I wanted to see Hendrix. I wanted to see The Who, and I missed them. I just saw the first day. And it was so muddy and rainy and messy and no place to use the bathroom, and everybody was drugged out. I wasn't doing drugs or anything back then." His disappointment wasn't so much in the music itself, but in the overwhelming conditions and the fact that the acts he most wanted to see didn't perform until later in the weekend. Indeed, the first day of Woodstock was dominated by folk acts like Richie Havens, Arlo Guthrie, and Joan Baez, artists who defined a more contemplative side of the 1960s counterculture. The electric energy of bands like The Who, Grateful Dead, and Creedence Clearwater Revival wouldn't shake the mud-soaked fields until the following days. Hendrix, the festival's grand finale, didn't take the stage until early Monday morning, long after many had already left, exhausted from the relentless rain and lack of amenities. Despite the mud and mist sets, Joel still saw something beautiful beneath the chaos. "There was a communal aspect that I appreciated," he says. "Watching thousands of young people come together around music, sharing food, blankets, and moments of raw emotion, left a lasting impression on him." It reminded him of what he later loved most about the Beatles. "It wasn't just about the Beatles," Joel reflects. "It was about us. Everybody's on the same page. We're all growing up and listening to this stuff." That sense of unity and shared passion was powerful, even if the festival itself didn't live up to his expectations. Joel's story, and many others like it, is told in the new HBO documentary Billy Joel, And So It Goes, which traces his journey from a kid in Long Island bands to a music legend whose songs became anthems for generations. Just 2 years after Woodstock, he released his solo debut Cold Spring Harbor, and in 1973 Piano Man would propel him to stardom, thanks to its honest storytelling and the now iconic title track. Decades later, that same spirit of community keeps Joel passionate about performing, even after facing health challenges. Earlier this year, he had to cancel shows following a diagnosis of a treatable brain condition. Yet his gratitude for fans remains unwavering. "When everybody is really enjoying what you're doing and they're singing along and going along with you and they're rooting for you, it's almost like a Woodstock experience," he says. "I'm so grateful for the support we've had from people who come to see us. Staggering to me. And a lot of it I don't even understand, but I don't question it. It's a blessing in my life." Joel wasn't the only future star wandering those muddy fields. Aerosmith's Steven Tyler also found himself at Woodstock, though he remembers the festival through a much wilder lens. "I remember it was a great place to get up," Tyler told Louder Sound. "People were walking around with water guns full of acid, squirting them in your face. You'd be tripping in a matter of minutes. There were 450,000 people just floating around the air, running around naked, laughing and screaming." Tyler's recollection highlights the two sides of Woodstock, the free-spirited liberation and the unfiltered chaos. Today, over 50 years later, Woodstock stands as both a symbol of a generation's hope for peace and love, and a reminder of its messy reality. And for Billy Joel, it was a muddy weekend that, despite everything, revealed something deeper about the power of music to bring people together. A lesson that stayed with him long after the mud dried and the last notes of Hendrix's guitar faded into history. For more on Billy Joel's story, pick up this week's issue of People, available everywhere Friday.